Good evening. This is the opening of the Township of Union Planning Board meeting dated Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Ms. Rutledge, would you please recite the sunshine law?
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, state notice of this meeting stating the time and place was satisfied by the filing of an annual notice with the local source and the Star Ledger, newspapers of general circulation within the Township of Union, and posted on the bulletin board of the Township of Union Municipal Building.
Thank you, Ms. Rutledge. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cohan?
Yeah, here.
Mr. East?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Espinoza? Here. Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Mayor Figueredo? Chairman Bowser?
Here.
Mr. Frame?
Here.
Ms. Khan?
Here.
Chairman Johnson?
Here. We have the Township Engineer sworn in, please.
Do you swear the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I have a resolution for Bapu Corporation, UTP 2023-12. That resolution be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cohan?
Abstain.
Mr. East?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza? Abstain. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeeman Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Abstain.
Chairman Johnston?
Yes. I have a motion for the minutes, March 28, 2024, be approved. So moved. Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. East? Mr. East?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Abstain, not present.
Committeeman Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. All right. For new business, I just have some housekeeping. Is the attorney for Chick-fil-A here? Good evening, Mr. Hale. I just want to let you know, we're waiting for our, the private engineer that we retained for the Chick-fil-A project to arrive. He hasn't gotten here yet. Oh, he is on his way. Okay, good. So I just wanted to let you know in case.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And I don't know if you want to cover the German watch on it.
You want to put that on the record?
In case anyone from the public.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're up there. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So, yeah, the matter of application 202404 Watchung Developers LLC, we did send a letter into the board. We're working on revisions to the plans, and we did notify the attorney representing the Larchmont Civic Association also that we were adjourning it. So I just want to put that on the record in case anyone was here, that they weren't waiting around while we do the other matters. So, and it's being, and we can address it, we requested it, and it's being carried to next month's meeting without further notice.
So ordered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, in the area needed redevelopment, we have President. You please identify yourself for the record, please, sir.
Sure thing. It's Nicholas Dickerson with Colliers Engineering and Design.
Can you please raise your right hand for be sworn in, please?
Nothing but the truth?
I do. All right. Just plug this in. Just bear with me just a moment. Not sure why that signal dropped. Let's see. There we go. And how do I get this? apologize just a second as I try to figure this out. I don't know why this USB is not. Okay. Yeah, right? And it doesn't even seem to be recognizing this thing. Hold on. May I remove one of the other USB ports on this? Can I try it on one of the other USB ports?
Yeah, you could try, there should be two.
Okay.
Just, one's for the mouse, so.
Okay. Well, maybe. Still doesn't seem to be recognizing. Right. If I pull up my laptop, can I plug that in? Then let me do that real quick.
Okay, no worries.
Yes. That's fine, I apologize.
The attorney for Creative Princeton Road.
Good evening, Alan J. Barkin, Schwartz, Barkin, and Mitchell, on behalf of Yuri Simchik. Pleasure to meet you, sir. And we are ready to go. We're here tonight for a minor subdivision and on Princeton Road, and we're going to get right into it with our engineer.
If I can ask you a question, sir.
Sure.
I believe we were looking for the updated, sorry? We were looking for the updated site plan. I don't think you have one.
I don't think we submitted one.
You didn't submit one.
We're working on the same one we submitted a year ago.
Okay. And we don't have an updated one.
I don't think so.
I believe the one was asked for last October, no?
Not us,
Not for you?
no.
Okay.
No
All right, well,
one, no one
tell you what.
communicated with us about it.
Right. Is anyone here else on the Princeton Road application? Your witnesses? All right. It's my understanding that we're needed a site plan. We don't have it. We'll go ahead with your testimony.
Okay.
But
We've submitted a site plan originally, but there is no updated one. We're
Okay,
going
that's
with
fine.
exactly what we submitted originally.
What I'll do is I'll just double check with our engineering department, and if we ask for one and we didn't get it, what we may do is instead of just voting on it tonight, I'll ask for you to get another one and send it to us, but I'm willing to listen to your testimony.
Well, if that's the case, we would like to know what it is that they're looking for, because we're satisfied.
I think my letter of October 23rd was quite clear. Under the technical comments, 3.6 says the applicant shall provide a site plan showing the proposed layout of the cul-de-sac. If variances are created, the applicant will have to make a return visit to the board after providing notice.
We're not proposing a cul-de-sac. There is no reason to propose a cul-de-sac. The fire department, there was a letter from the fire department in September, I believe, of 23, 6 months after our application was deemed complete. And that letter does not ask for a cul-de-sac. It refers to the dead-end street as a cul-de-sac.
Did you respond to that in writing?
Yes, we sent several letters to that effect.
Let me clarify. The comments that the fire department submitted basically said, we want the engineering department to look at this, which is a concern of ours, meaning the fire department. We did. That's why we wrote the letter in October.
You were asking us to create a cul-de-sac. That's a public right-of-way. And I don't think we have an obligation we don't own the street. We own the properties on the side. If the town wants to turn that street into a cul-de-sac, they've got a process for doing that. We intend to leave the street as it is and build the two houses there and as it is.
It sounds like we have a lot of bells and whistles that have to be.
No, Mr. Chairman, we do not.
Well,
We
I
have,
think we do. I think the planning board does, because there's some questions that I just don't have the answer.
we've never even had a chance to present our case. We've been waiting a year to present our case. We would like to do that tonight.
No, I would, but I can't guarantee that we're going to vote on your application tonight, because I just want to make sure that we have everything we're supposed to have.
Well, we want to be clear that we're no longer agreeing to extend the time.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And you understand, sir, I don't need your agreement, right?
Pardon me?
You understand I don't need your agreement to extend?
Oh, yes, you do,
No, I don't.
because the 45-day period for approval of a subdivision passed more than a year ago.
All right, well, you
So
can,
if you fail to vote on it tonight, we will go to court for an automatic approval.
okay, you do that, sir, because I'm not going to have my planning board vote on an application where I'm not confident that we have all the
Okay,
information.
well,
Okay?
okay,
And you can duke it out with our planning board attorney, sir.
we will.
Good evening.
Please recite your name, please.
Sure. It's Giovanni, Giovanni, last name Manilio, Manilio.
Thank you, sir. Swear in the witness, please.
Yes. Do you swear the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Manilio, can you share with us your professional qualifications?
Sure. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Syracuse University. I'm currently licensed in the state of New Jersey and the state of New York, both in good standing. I've been licensed in the state for 15 years and testified in front of numerous boards throughout the state, including this board, but it's been a few years since I've been here.
Would you like to make?
Yes, we would like to have him
As an expert
accepted as
witness?
a professional engineer.
So ordered.
I have the same issues as you guys.
Something's happening.
Of course, same thing.
Can you click on the source? It says source.
See if that works. Anything as we tested it before?
You're up now on this one. Is that you?
There we go. Nope, it went back. There we go, sorry.
Can you please describe what the current conditions are?
Sure. So the property is known as 380 Princeton Road, Block 1101, Lot 2, located in the RA residential one-family zone. The lot is generally rectangular in size, and it's oversized with a lot area of 13,500 square feet, where a lot area of 5,000 square feet is required in that zone.
So that's more than twice the requirement?
That is correct. Property has 100 feet of frontage along Princeton Road, and then 135 feet along Fairfield Way. It is a corner lot. Property is surrounded by residential dwellings on all sides, and then the golf club is to the west of the property. Property currently consists of a single-family, two-story dwelling with an enclosed porch in the rear. There is a driveway that comes off of Fairfield Way that goes to the back of the house where there is an attached two-car garage. Currently, Fairfield Way is a dead-end street with two houses that front onto Fairfield Way and four driveways that come off of that dead-end street. And again, the lot is currently fully conforming and oversized. The proposal for this application is a minor subdivision that is fully conforming with the bulk requirements in the township ordinance. As shown on the screen is what was submitted as part of the site plan or subdivision application. The thick black line that you see that's running from left to right is the proposed subdivision line with a lot to the east and a lot to the west. The corner lot, which is will be proposed as lot 9.01, would be approximately 71 feet wide and 100 feet deep. And the western lot, which is closest to the golf course, would be conforming as well with a dimension of approximately 64 feet by 100 feet deep. Lot 2.0, or 9.01 is 7,100 square feet, and the other is 6,400 square feet. Again, lots will be fully conforming. We did submit architecturals as part of the application. Again, they are just for conceptual purposes only. What we're coming in today for is for a subdivision of the lots. And if we were to get approved, as part of the conditions or prior to building construction, we would submit plot plans for each lot with the proposed house that we're proposing to build, along with all the requirements that go with building a house as far as a grading plan, drainage plan, and everything to the effect that your town or board engineer would want to see. So I know there was questions or comments about a cul-de-sac. So yeah, we did see a comment saying that to provide, or not provide a cul-de-sac, to show a cul-de-sac on the plans. Again, this is on an existing street. We're not proposing any improvements to the street. We're not extending the street. The lot currently fronts on the street. So in our opinion, a cul-de-sac is not required for this dead-end street. I know that the fire official had made a comment about just concerns about maneuverability and accessing for fire apparatus. I do want to note, I mean, this street, the dead end, is 135 feet long. We do have two frontages, and I put a quick exhibit together.
Can I interrupt you for 1
Sure.
second? Is it correct that there are other houses that already front on Fairway? I'm sorry. Thank you. Is it correct that there are already other houses that front on that block of Fairway?
Correct, there are two other dwellings that front on Fairway,
Thank you.
or Fairfield, I'm sorry. So I did put an aerial exhibit, so just in the general vicinity of this property, and I'll, I guess, note this as A1, and it's entitled 380 Princeton Road Union, aerial exhibit, with a date of March 28th, 2024. So this is an aerial exhibit of the general neighborhood. The proposed, or the subject property, is highlighted in yellow, and what you see highlighted in blue are other dead-end streets in the neighborhood. So Fairfield, as I mentioned, is 135 feet long.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Can we get this exhibit identified?
A1, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So again, so Fairfield is 135 feet long, has two houses that front on it and four driveways. You have Halsey, which I believe is this one right here. It looks like a T. Is 375 feet long, dead end, with 7 houses and 9 driveways. Lancaster, which is directly, I believe, north of our property, is 415 feet long, has 9 houses on it with 10 driveways. Further to the west, on the other side of the golf club, there's a short section of Plymouth that is 145 feet long, which is a little longer than our street, but only has 1 house and 2 driveways on it. And then as you go further out, there's, further streets, such as Dogwood, that's further west, that has 26 houses on a dead-end street. And to the east, again, as well, you have many streets that have a lot of houses that are on dead end that are more of concern, in my opinion, as far as number of houses, accessing for fire, where ours is a corner lot, has frontage on both Princeton and Fairfield, and we're adding 1 additional dwelling on that lot. Alternatively, speaking with the client, we do have, several options if the cul-de-sac is an issue with the board or with the board engineer. Our first option is we could provide a fire hydrant at the corner of Fairfield and Princeton. That will allow a fire truck to hook up directly at the corner without having to go down the street with their truck, and then they would fight the fire as normal, walking down the street with their hoses. That's option 1. Option 2 is this property would meet the requirements for a subdivision and for 2 lots if we flip the subdivision. Instead of having the 2 lots facing Fairfield, we can make them facing Princeton. Hence, there's no need for access on Fairfield Way. And I brought that as well, so I guess we'll call this A2. And it's an exhibit called 380 Princeton Road Union, alternate subdivision exhibit with a date of March 28th, 2024. As you can see on this one, the dark line is the proposed subdivision line, and that runs north to south. Again, this would be a fully conforming subdivision with lot area and all the bulk requirements. Obviously, we would have to be a different house than what was presented to the board previously with the other subdivision proposal. But again, this is possible as well, where we could have both houses front on Princeton and not rely on Fairfield for fire access or maneuverability. That concludes my testimony.
Yep.
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Barkin, did I misunderstand you? Did you say that you did not receive or note the October 2023 letter?
We did receive it, yes.
All right, but I would want that to be changed for the record. I thought I understood you to say you did not get that.
No, I misunderstood the point that the chairman was making.
I understand, thank you. That's good to know. That was my question. That was one question, and I'll leave the rest to others.
And my questions pertain to the chronology of the plans and the letters that come. So I just want to establish and validate in terms of, so there were architectural plans dated July 12th originally submitted to the engineer. And then there were other plans, there was a second version of the architectural plans submitted, dated on August 15th. That's correct. So there are 2 plans that were submitted.
Mr. Lee, I believe you're referring to architectural plans.
Correct.
Rather than the engineering plans.
Okay, do you have the architect here tonight?
Well, we do have the architect here tonight,
Okay.
but we note that we're here just for the subdivision and not for approval of any specific homes. We offered the architecturals to give an idea of the types of houses that might be built. But once we get the approvals, the actual houses would be, we would submit the plans for those with complete construction plans and grading, et cetera.
Okay, so going back to my question, I just want to understand the chronology of this. There were architectural plans originally submitted on July 12th, 2023, correct?
I believe that's the date, yes.
And then there were,
Let me just check with the staff.
okay,
Is that? Yeah, that's what we,
and then after that, there were architectural plans that were revised, dated August 15, 2023, that were submitted again.
yes, let me explain that. It was noted that I believe that the plans for the homes that were submitted for, just to show what we might do, were set in a location that would have created a need for a variance. So new architecturals were submitted to show that we could build houses without a variance.
Okay, and so the plans that were dated August 15, 2023, basically were the latest versions, and there are no other versions, and that version dated August 15th does not reflect any kind of cul-de-sac.
No, it does not.
Okay. And based on the testimony provided by the engineer, there's no intention of reflecting any plans that would have a cul-de-sac, and I just want to confirm that.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sir, I would just like to address your, how you spoke about the firefighter operations. So, at any structure fire, the ladder truck would be placed in front of the said structure fire. So when you're saying that you're going to use a fire hydrant and hump hose up to the front, that's incorrect. I just wanted to make, that's the reason why I believe the fire official wanted a cul-de-sac for maneuverability of a ladder truck in there. I just wanted to put that on the record.
No, noted, thank you.
Mr. Chairman? I just have a question for the attorney. Is your applicant present tonight?
Yes, he is.
Do you intend to have him offer testimony?
We weren't planning on it, but if the board wants to hear from him, we will.
All right, thank you.
All right, and you may not know the answer to this question, but I would just present it to your attorney. In the letter dated October 23rd, 2023, paragraph 3.6, I think this may clear things up a little bit. It says here, the applicant shall provide a site plan showing the proposed layout of the cul-de-sac. If variants are created, the applicant will have to make a return visit to the board after providing notice. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
You have that? That's what I'm talking about.
No, I understand that, but let me give a timeline.
Sure.
I believe it was in March of 2023 that the engineer deemed our application complete.
Okay.
And deemed it to be a subdivision that required no variances and was put on this agenda and this calendar for that reason. And for some reason, everyone went back to revisit it, and that's 6 months later, after delaying us repeatedly, canceled 3 or 4 meetings by October, then that letter came.
Okay. So, and again, I think we're a little better off now than we were before.
Okay, good, thank you.
Now, is there a site plan showing proposed layout of the cul-de-sac?
No.
There is none. Okay. All right, fair enough. All right. Any questions from the public? Okay, sir, your next witness, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call our architect, just to give you an idea of what the houses might look like.
Are you going to testify, sir?
I am, yes.
State your name for the record, please.
My name is Andrew Podborezniak. I'm the architect on this project.
Raise your right hand. Swear, please.
Do you swear the testimony that you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please tell me your professional credentials?
I'm a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. I received my license in 1987, graduated from New Jersey School of Architecture, NJIT, 1985, and then two or 3 years later, I received my license. I've been in my own practice since 1998, I believe, and I did numerous projects throughout New Jersey. I actually testified before the board in the past.
Can we have him accepted as a professional architect?
So,
Thank you. Can you please describe the houses that we offered as examples of the houses to be built on this site?
So what we're proposing on those 2 properties here, it's 2 Center Hall colonial houses, roughly 3,358 square feet each. One is going to be on a corner and will be set off slightly as required by the side yard setback from Princeton Road, 12 feet, because that's the setback of the corner frontage. And the other one will have 5-foot setbacks. The size of the houses roughly are 54 feet by 40 feet. Again, a Center Hall colonial with the entrance in the front. We have the We have the floor plans right there. We have entrance in the front. On the left-hand side, we have a dining room. On the right, we have a living room. Going straight up, we have a big open rear area with a U-shaped kitchen, family room. Then beyond the family room, we have a office, home office / guest bedroom, and also we have a bathroom that would act as a, again, for guest bedroom or as a, for the guests. On the right-hand side, we have a 2-car garage with a mudroom entering to the center of the house.
In addition to the 2-car garage, is there parking available on site?
There is two spaces in the garage, but there is also 2 spaces right in front of the garage. So we have a parking for 4 cars.
And does that meet the requirements?
That
of the
does meet
ordinance?
the requirements. So there is no off-street parking required in this. We're totally complying with parking, complying with size of the house. We, as far as the building coverage, as far as the lot coverage, we're way under actually, because the property, the minimum required size is 5,000 square feet, which is 50 by 100. Ours is actually, one of them is 64 by 100, the other one is 71 by 100, so they're bigger than minimum. So we have a lot more space to give. And we didn't go maximum to with the houses. We didn't build them, as big as possible. Also on the second floor, we have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom upstairs. So we have a 1-bedroom that has its own bathroom, which is called, now it's called Princess Suite. Then we have two other bedrooms that would be sharing the bathroom of the hallway. And then we have a master bedroom with the nursery area, 2 walk-in closets, and a bathroom. The basement will have its own bathroom downstairs and will be basically one big open area as a playroom. There will be a finished bedroom, but there is no direct walk out from the basement. It's just go down through the main staircase. The renderings. Nice.
And this exhibit, can you tell, what is this exhibit identified as?
This is basically the rendering of the front of the street, showing those 2 houses. And as you can see, they're not identical houses. Each one it's a custom house. Each one has a different shapes, different colors, different textures on it. So we're not just taking one and repeating one next to each other, but we're actually changing the front elevation. So there's different peaks, and they look totally different.
I have no further questions.
Questions from the board?
Yes. Can you go back to some of your previous exhibits showing the floor plans?
You want first floor or second floor?
The very first exhibit that you've
First floor.
shared. Yeah, this one in here. So what you've shared with us tonight is the best representation of what is planned to go on the property.
That's what will be built on this property, correct?
Okay. Can you zoom down on the bottom right a little bit? A little bit, zoom in a little bit more because I just want, and can you scroll to the right a little bit? And just down a little bit. I see that the date says July 12th. And July 12th is the date for what you have presented,
July
correct?
July 12th, that's what the drawings were completed and the first issue was submitted, okay?
Okay. Okay. And then from my understanding from my previous question was that the plans dated July 12th, and according to the engineer's letter, would introduce bulk C variances, correct?
There was a question about front yard setback because I had a meeting with the township engineer and he wanted me to clarify the way I basically lined the dimensions on this to be clearer, to show that we do have a front yard setback. And that's what basically I changed the front dimensions and that's what the revision came that was done in August 15th.
But what you're showing us is dated July 12th.
Well,
correct?
it was, all the submissions that you have are actually submitted of the latest drawings with the revisions of August 15th.
But I'm saying what you're presenting us is dated July 12th, correct?
No, I'm presenting you as of August 15th. That was the latest submission that you received.
Then I'm quite confused because on the bottom right, it says the date, July 12, 2023.
On the bottom right on this exhibit, but you should have a copy. We submitted the copies to the town with August 15 date with the revision. So
But your
your
pr-
drawings have the revision date on it.
So
But my
this is, just for clarity, this is different than what we actually submitted.
Well, correct, and the only thing is different is basically one string of dimension next to the walkway on the site plan, where township engineer wanted me to clarify and show a different way to show from their setback.
Okay, I think I've asked enough questions on my end. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions from the board?
Okay.
Wait, there's a gentleman.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
Did you come up?
Could you come up, please?
Questions, not comments.
That's it. You have a question, sir? Oh, no question? Okay,
Wait.
we'll do comments when they're done.
I call you,
Mr. Baker, sir? Are you Mr. Baker? Yes. You are, okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question relative to the testimony that was just previously given. There was another overlaid suggestion when we were discussing the possibility of a cul-de-sac or not, and a hydrant or not. I think that something was said that, well, we could switch them and have them face another way. So that leaves me with, what are we really talking about? And I understand, sir, that what you're asking tonight is just for simple subdivision.
correct.
But we are now receiving testimony that's not only outdated, but is in conflict to what was just testified to in my thoughts. Now, I'm getting a little confused. Maybe you can clarify.
Well, the houses themselves are not really part of our application. Because we've offered them to give you an idea of what could be built on the site. Once the lots are subdivided, we'll submit plans for the actual houses to be built. We're showing that these lots can sustain these houses. When our architect explained that the houses didn't really change when the front setback issue was raised, it was just, I'll let him explain what was changed.
It wasn't actually front setback issue changed.
sorry.
It was just, the engineer didn't like me to put a line with dimensioning one way. She says, oh, why don't you just put that 25 feet and that 5-foot dimension at this side of the thing? And that's what I basically said, sure, no problem. If that's what has to be done, that's what we do. That's what we only did. But as far as the location of the house and the property, nothing changed.
And
Because
when,
we do, I'm sorry, because even on this setback, we do have a 25-year setback. There is no variances that we are seeking. We complying 100% with the Union Township variance zoning requirements. So there is not even one single variance that we are seeking because there is none asked for. The house fits exactly on the property where it's supposed to fit, and there is no issues.
and with regard to offering to rotate the plan, if the board indicates to us that that's something that they would view more favorably, then we would submit a revised site plan to reflect that and come back with that.
And we would have to resubmit different, if we go
Well,
the
we
other
would-
direction.
We would wait on the architecturals
Right.
Yeah,
at that point.
what I really, if you ask him a question, and he'll give
Sure.
it to us, because what
Sorry.
happens, and I'm just saying generally, the witness will say things that the lawyer doesn't want him to say.
And it gets to be a bad
It
record.
gets to be, yeah. So please wait till your attorney,
No problem, I understand.
thank you very much.
So if the board would look at that more favorably, then we'd be inclined to come back and show you
Okay.
detail on that.
I think that's a pretty good bet, but we're willing to give you a fair shake to present your case tonight, sir.
My next witness would be, if you're done, I'm sorry.
So one of these pictures we've seen, the houses are like this, but the actual layout that you're gonna have to put it is like this. Are they gonna be back to back? Like, where are the driveways gonna fit? You saw another picture before with the lot. Yeah.
The rendering
We're looking
shows,
at it like this.
Right.
But in the picture, in a previous picture where it showed the way it's gonna be laid out on the lot was
Can I explain it? The house that you actually was on the picture before, on the drawing before, is the house that is on the left-hand side of that rendering. The one that has the, basically two garages on the left-hand side. So that was one house. We have another floor plan, which is exactly same floor, with the house that's, with the garages on the right-hand side, because there's two different houses with the, with garages next to each other. So it's one has them on the right-hand side, one has them on the left-hand side.
Is it fair to say that the two houses are mirror images of each other?
They're almost the rear, yes, except for one of them has a box window, one of them doesn't, I think. That's the only thing. Otherwise, interior layout is very similar, except on the exterior, we made them totally different.
Any other questions from the board? And we'll ask again. I know, Mr. Beck, you want to make a comment, but we'll do that when they're finished, okay? Any questions from the public? All right, sir, your next witness, please.
Mr. Simchek?
Sir, please recite your name for the record.
Yuri Simchik.
Please get sworn in.
Do you swear the testimony that you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Sir, is this the owner?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Simchek, you're the owner of this property?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And did you buy this property with the intention of subdividing it and building two homes?
Yes, I did.
And how did you determine that that was something you could do?
Well, we did our due diligence before purchasing the property, made meetings with the township, met with engineering just to get clearance, checked all the zoning, just typical standard procedure before purchasing a property.
And was it your conclusion that this property could be subdivided and create two conforming lots?
Yes.
And are you anxious to go forward with this?
Very.
Okay. And had we been approved a year ago, you would have gone forward with it then?
Most likely would have been close to being sold.
Okay. I have no further questions of Mr. Simchek, but I understand some of the board members do.
Thank you, Mr. Simchek. Questions from the board?
Yes, I do. So, Mr. Simchek, do you reside in the property?
I do not.
That you rent it?
It's currently rented, correct.
And if the subdivision is approved and you build the two homes, is your intention to rent those two homes?
No, the intention is to sell those two homes. I develop real estate, I build homes. I've done several projects in Union where I buy a small home, whether it's a Cape or a ranch, and we build a center hall colonial, very similar to what was pictured, and sell it for a profit.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, your next witness.
That's it for our witnesses. And again, we are done unless you would like us to come back with plans showing it fronting on Princeton.
And I'm glad that we can meet halfway on that, sir. Agreeing to disagree is my specialty. I am concerned about what you just mentioned earlier, and paragraph 3.6, I think, needs to be addressed. So instead of voting on it now, because I can't guarantee you it's going to get approved tonight, my suggestion to you, sir, is that we table it to next month. And if you agree to that, fine, but we're trying to give you a fair shake here. And I am not in the position where it's okay for an applicant just to not do what our engineering department, and I'm not saying that you didn't do it intentionally. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. but-
I'm going to take this head on. There wasn't a misunderstanding.
No.
We understood that we had a complete application and that there were no variances required. The time for us to be heard was within 45 days of that. The fire department's comment, which led to the engineer's request, came 6 months later. And the time for the fire department to have made this comment had long expired.
Okay.
And why should a developer who is not creating a street or extending a street be required to create a cul-de-sac? That's not part of normal development process. And in effect, you would be doing a condemnation of a portion of my client's property, as well as the property across the street, because of course, the cul-de-sac would have to come off both sides, not just our side.
Well, I hope you understand my point of view, sir. As the chairman of the planning board, I really don't want to create a precedent where we accept information and vote on an application that we asked for information we never got. And it's not against you, I'm just talking in general.
Right.
I don't like doing that. I think it leaves the record open for some problems down the road. So my suggestion to you, sir, is that we table this to next month, and that, I'm sorry? And that you and our engineering department talk to each other to figure out what happened, because I'm not sure I know what happened either, to tell you the truth.
Well, we're clear about what happened,
yeah.
actually. But
So I'm asking, and if you don't want to agree to that, I respect that. It's just that I think this, if we're going to meet each other halfway, I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Well, we will come back, and we're going to offer plans that front on Princeton, which show, which wouldn't raise that issue. In fact, there'd be, while there's one house that now, well, I guess it has a garage on Fairfield, there'll be no houses that have that in the future.
All right, so you'll agree that we can table this to next month, sir?
I have a quick question. May I? The whole
I
process.
want to go through your attorney.
May I?
Yes, you may.
The whole process of the cul-de-sac, as late as it may have came in our approval process, or at least being heard by the planning board, was quite a shock, because we were on the agenda, I believe, several times leading up to that. And what ended up happening is I received the phone call from the engineer, Phil, in regards to the cul-de-sac that we just received this letter from the fire chief, and it'll take me, meaning Mr. Hatter, at least 30 days to come up with this site plan and what it's going to look like, and determine if a cul-de-sac is needed or not. And that was another delay tactic. So we understood.
I'm sorry, sir? The delay tactic?
I found it to be, yes.
We're trying to work with each other here, sir.
We appreciate that.
And
that
there's
the board,
I tell you with 100% certainty, there's no delay tactic here.
Mr. Chairman,
I agree to
this
disagree.
is the very first time we're before the board, so it's not the board that we've been concerned about. This is our first time speaking with you. We don't think you're delaying us, but we think that some of the processes that get you here were interposed for delay.
I don't mean to have offended anyone on the planning board. It wasn't directed towards you
I
whatsoever.
can tell you, one of the things that we take pride in is working with the applicants to make sure that everything gets done properly. I can tell you with 100% certainty, sir, we don't engage in delay tactics. Not under,
Well,
not-
we don't,
no.
and this is our first time here on this application, so the board certainly hasn't delayed us.
Okay, fair enough. I'll tell you what, let's just table this. Now, I know, Mr. Baker, you wanted to, we're going to table this until the next meeting. Do you want to wait until the next meeting, or do you like to be heard today? What's your pleasure, sir? I'm sorry? Tonight? All right, come on up, please, sir. And just say, this is the comments section, there's no Q&A, and you won't be calling any witnesses. If you can go in front of the microphone, sir, identify yourself and your address.
Good evening. Chris Baker. I reside at 640 Fairfield Way, which is one of the homes that was referred to earlier on, and it would be directly opposite what was just shown as the rendering, assuming those properties were built facing.
You talk right into the mic, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to repeat any of that?
There you go, we're good.
Okay. I would like to show an image, if I may. I think we may be able to pull that up. And I do understand this is coming back to be heard at another meeting, but I'd just like to provide a little bit of context to some of the things I heard this evening, just for the benefit of the board and for my neighbours. Is it possible to get that all on one screen? If not, I'll just have to ask you to scroll at the right moment.
Yeah, no.
No, that's okay. What you were looking at. Okay, so what you're looking at is a Google Maps image, actually a Google Earth image that was taken in 2013 of the end of Fairfield Way.
No, same thing, sorry.
That's good, you're good. The houses were built, the two houses you see there on the end of Fairfield Way, the one on the left is actually the house that I live in with my wife, and the house on the right is the house that Mr. Simcek currently owns. And this is how the development was designed back in 1941 when I guess this area of Putnam Manor was initially developed. Obviously Google Earth wasn't around then, but you have to trust me that that's basically what it looked like, probably without so many leaves on the trees. If we could just, well, I guess the point I want to make is that as it was originally designed with this infrastructure, there were two houses, and between those two houses was 7 bedrooms. Mr. Simcek's house has 4 bedrooms. The house that I live in at the time had 3 bedrooms. It now has been modified and has 5 bedrooms. If we could then just wind the clock forward to today, so I don't know where my assistant went. Sorry. If you could just tab down. Okay, thank you very much. So you now see what this would look like with 4 properties at the end of Fairfield Way. First thing you'll notice is next to the property that I own, there is another property that was developed back in 2017, I think. That is a 5-bedroom home. And then the 2 properties that are being proposed, assuming the subdivision is approved, will both be 5-bedroom properties. So we're going from a situation in an environment with infrastructure that was originally designed for 2 houses and a total of 7 bedrooms. And we would be going to 4 houses with a total of 20 bedrooms. What comes with bedrooms are cars. And we are experiencing in real time what a lot of cars in this environment feels like, because Mr. Simcek has rented his current property to 8 college students, which is 8 cars on a good day, often more than that when they bring their friends and family around. And it's not like they don't have a driveway that would accommodate 8 cars. They absolutely do. It has a very long driveway at the back of the house, but you'll rarely find more than 1 car on that driveway. They're all on the street. So the neighbours, particularly myself and my immediate neighbours, have very legitimate concerns regarding access to the end of Fairfield Way. On recent occasion, we've had to call the fire brigade out due to a potential fire. So we've seen what that looks like with fire trucks and paramedic vehicles in the area. And I appreciate one of the comments that was made that if the houses were repositioned so that they were facing Princeton, that would eradicate the problem. And respectfully, I would disagree with that, because these houses have, I understand they have 2 garages and they have 1 place in front of each garage. But I think you all know that those garages are not going to be full of cars, and the other cars are unlikely to be permanently on those driveways. They're going to be spread all around the property. And that means that there will continue to be cars parked at the dead end of Fairfield Way, which is what we're experiencing today. And it could potentially get worse than what we're dealing with today. So we do have legitimate concerns about health and safety. We have young children, we have elderly living in this area. And as I said, we've had a recent experience where we've had to call emergency services to our property, and we saw, how difficult it was to bring those vehicles in and manoeuvre them. So I just wanted to provide that context. Happy to take any questions from the board. Or
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Questions from the board? Sir, do you have any questions for the President? Or do you have any input you'd like to, or you want to wait till the next?
The answer is, we understand the problem.
You have to do it, sir.
We understand the problem that's developed with regard to the current tenants.
Yeah, look,
And as
right
Mr.
into the mic.
As Mr. Simcek has indicated, his goal is to sell these homes to families and not to rent them. And he was very clear that renting it was a placeholder till he could get this done. He had to carry the property. And he is not happy with the way it's worked out either with the tenants, and would love to get on with tearing the house down, that will get rid of them, and start building these 2 houses for families.
Fair enough. Mr. Baker, yes, you can. Also, I invite you, if you want to come to the next meeting,
I will be here, yeah, sure, thank you very much. Look, I think the tenants and the situation that that's created is a completely separate matter. I'm not really raising the fact that we have college students in there because of other issues that have resulted. I'm really merely raising it because I think it's a good example of what having 2 5-bedroom houses in this very tight area of Fairfield Way is going to create in terms of traffic and congestion. And I've just used that as an example because it's not really a theory, we're actually seeing it on a day-to-day basis with the current situation.
All right, thank you very much for your input, Mr. Baker. We really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll take a motion to, any other comments from the public? Okay, come on up. And again, sir, we're going to be hearing this again next month. If you want to wait till next month, it's your
I'm
prerogative.
just backing up some traffic situations that Chris was mentioning.
Okay. Your name and address,
Robert
please, sir?
Felly at 690 Fairfield Way. I'm at the northern end of Fairfield Way.
Nice to meet
on
you,
the
sir.
right off of Wayne. Also the Vice President of Putnam Manor Civic Association. Anyhow, addressing our street in general, traffic. Right at this moment, there's a home near me, and I'm not going to mention names, but a home across the street from me. So it's a one-family home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, okay? The street is very narrow. At that part of Fairfield, when you come off of Wayne, you can almost touch yard to yard, straight across.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to discuss kind of the general traffic situation on this street. Right now, there's like I said, a one-family home across the street from me. They have 4, sometimes 5 cars in their driveway and 4 cars in front of their house, okay? One home. So just 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in front of one house or in front of my driveway, not my driveway, in front of my house and the house next door. No fire engine could ever get down there. No way, no how, no way. It's never addressed the issue. The whole street is a narrow street. It's not an easy street from either end to either end to negotiate. When there's people with cars there, and I can imagine how many more cars are going to end up at that house, eventually there's 2 homes. This whole area is going to be useless for any kind of emergency vehicle. You can't get there now. If they come down Wayne, a fire engine, even an ambulance, if an ambulance comes down and everybody's parked on this section, you can't get to the other part of Fairfield Way. It's impossible. It's impossible. So, which seems like a big area to some people, if you live there, you realize that automobiles in our area have to be minimal. They have to be parked in the driveways, almost exclusively in the driveways, because you're creating a problem. There's not enough area to get a lot of cars in that Fairfield Way area. It's just too tight. Everyone has 3 or 4 cars. Where are you putting all these cars? Nobody puts them all the way inside their driveway. They don't do that because they get to work in the morning, get in the car in front of their house. People have driveways. They open the garage door. What do you see? The whole garage is filled with stuff. You don't see cars half the time. You see stuff. I don't care if it's a new house or an old house. I got a house around the corner. It's a pretty new house. They open the garage. There's no cars in the garage.
Right.
Their stuff is there. So again, traffic, how much cars can be parked anywhere in this Fairfield Way area is ridiculous. It's so tight now, it's crazy. That's it.
Thank you. You'd like to respond, sir, or wait till?
I would like to respond. Their description of people parking on the street is what these folks are doing.
Okay.
And their garages that are full with stuff and they don't use, that's what the people who are complaining are doing.
Right.
We're providing 2 garages and 2 parking spaces for one family. And that's exactly what your ordinance requires, and that's what we're doing. And I would also like to note that the plan reduces the curb area on Fairfield Way because there are now 2 driveways. So there won't be as many cars parked on Fairfield Way as a result of that on this block.
Thank you, sir. Any other, any questions or commentary by the public? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Baker. All right. All right. And all right. Is there any other comments from the public? Come on up. I have to come up here, sir. One at a time. Good evening, sir. How are you, sir? You identify yourself and your residence?
Yes, my name is Ken Schuster. I live at 357 Plymouth Road, which is across the golf course. I'm a bit away from this particular house.
Okay.
But I know from myself and many other neighbors, if you people are familiar with Putnam Manor,
Yeah.
we don't have sidewalks, and it's a very sort of a gardeny kind of a neighborhood. And there are a lot of people that walk, myself included, all different ages. You have kids going to and from school, people walking dogs. And as Bob had mentioned, the streets are a little more narrow because obviously Putnam Manor was built at a time when there were less cars. And my concern is when you're walking, originally there was one house on this property. Now we are going to think about putting two. There will be more density, as Chris had mentioned. Just things for you people to consider as you consider this on the overall. People walk there day, night, the streets are narrow, you've got more cars in general today. It is more dangerous, I can tell you from the 58 years I've lived in my house. We have a lot more traffic, it's in general more dangerous walking around, just because you have more vehicles. And if we have more cars on streets, there's not as much places to hide if somebody's coming, especially at night. So there is a density issue that would be, or I think should be considered with regard to the overall of the contemplation of this property.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And we tried this last month, sir. It sounds that there's a fair amount of concern from the public, from your neighbors. And perhaps, and I just throw this out there, a little community outreach on your part may be helpful. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Come on up. That's just something I'm suggesting to put their concerns at ease, because they have legitimate concerns.
Absolutely. When the application was deemed complete back in March or April of last year, it was pulled off the agenda because of the concerns of the neighbors.
Okay.
Township Administrator Don had reached out for me to come in to meet with him, and we sat down with Phil, Don, Anthony Manguso came in to have a word about this. So we're familiar with the situation. We were familiar with all the concerns, and it's actually my idea for Don to reach out to the neighbors, for us to sit down and have a conversation.
Because sometimes a little bit of lunch.
But that gesture was not welcome.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh,
And actually, we tried another time, several months since we were delayed again.
Yeah.
I said, let's sit down. I'd be happy to show the renderings. I'd be happy to hear some of the input from the neighbors, what their concerns are. That's why we have all the parking available on these properties. That's the only reason why we did the drawings of it actually, I feel like it created confusion today unnecessarily.
Well, yeah, all right.
But that's why we wanted to show the two garages, why we wanted to show the two parking spots. We're aware that the neighbors were concerned about parking and understood that. So we're trying to accommodate everyone as much as we can.
Well, we're trying to help you out, sir.
I appreciate it.
We, like I said, we try to help. We try to work with all the applicants to make it sure it happens here. You have a month. Maybe taking them out to lunch or something might help. I don't know. But I do think that the current situation in helping your neighbors out might go a long way.
We spoke with them after the meeting last month.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was very productive, but we would be happy to sit down if there's constructive ideas. If they have comments about the specific houses, about the way they would be oriented, those sorts of things. But so far, their position has been no, as opposed to please change this.
I would give it the old office try, sir.
I will reach out directly, possibly. I'm a fun guy to hang out with, so I'm not sure if everyone's down for bottomless brunch, but we'll do something.
I'm sorry. Then I think we have another comment. We're going to have to cut it because we have another application we have to do, but come on up, sir. We'll hear you, sir. Go right in front of there.
I just wanted to know if you,
your name and address, please.
My name is John Smith. I live at 371 Princeton Road, Union.
Nice meeting you, Mr.
And everybody in Union, in Putnam Manor, keep their property beautiful, their lawn's really nice. But the gentleman that owns the property right now It's a mess. He cuts it, I don't want to cut last. It's a poor example for what you're going to do when you build this home, okay? So I just wanted to get that right in. We'd like to see him take care of the property that's there right now.
All right, Mr. Smith. All right,
Okay.
thank you. All right, are there any other commentaries from the public? I see one in the back, lavender. Like I said, we have another application we have to, and I don't want to, we have until 10 o'clock. I don't want to crowd anybody out here.
Hi, Terry Jordan, and I live at 375 Princeton Road, right across from the property.
Hello, Ms. Jordan.
Hi. I just want to respond to what you said about meeting with the neighbors or reaching out to the neighbors, because everybody in the neighborhood has a really hard time wanting to sit down with you when the property, like Jack said, is a total disgrace. And we have 20, sometimes 22 cars on that street. We don't sleep at night because of the parties, so it's really hard to take you seriously, and I've talked to you about it, and that's all I have to say. So it's really hard for us to...
Well, I tell you what, I respect that. I'm not convinced that that little chat over lunch will hurt the application or help it, but it may, that's between you. I'm just making a suggestion. I don't have to make that suggestion.
I understand that, but this is why we are reluctant to do that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, thank you very much. All right, any more commentary? Okay. I'll accept the motion to table B1101L2, application 2023-03. I'll take a motion to table that to the next planning board meeting.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yes, sir? Can we move forward, please?
I'm going to have a knee replacement on May 16th, and I will not be available on your next meeting, but I will be available for the June meeting.
Okay. Ms. Rutledge, can we do that for the June meeting?
You can do for the June meeting, yeah. The meeting in May is May 23rd, but you're going to be gone that whole time?
May 16th is my surgery.
Okay, so I wanted to understand. Yeah, so it'll be June, which is June 20, give me a minute, 27? 27, June 27.
Well, good luck with your knee surgery, sir. I know that's not fun. All right, I'd like to have a motion to table application 2023-03 B1101L2.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to table this until June 20, what did you just say?
27.
27.
Second.
In deference to the availability of all stakeholders. I also would like to add in that as a planning board, we request that the commentary and the remarks of our township engineer be reconsidered and considered as you reapply and bring forward your testimony. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Geese?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza? Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins? Yes. Nick Van
Yes.
Mr. Crane?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Good luck with your surgery, sir. All right, application 2023-17, Chick-fil-A. Thank you. You're very welcome, sir. Have a good day now.
Is he?
All right, well, all right. Let's see. Mr. Hill, Mr. Dickerson, are you ready? I hope so. How long is this going to take? Can we first just get him out of here? Okay. Thank you, sir. All right.
Oh, all right. No, yeah.
All right, if I may, as a form of order, if I could just we'll do is we'll recall the area in need of redevelopment application. Getting near that before we hear Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
I am.
You are, okay. All right, can you please keep it low, down, please, everyone, so we can hear the testimony? Thank you. All right, sir.
All right. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. Apologies for the technical difficulties earlier.
One second. If they, let's quiet it down, because they're coming in here and they won't be able to hear what you have to say. Can you please, all right, I think that's good enough. All right, let's give it a shot again.
All righty, so take two. So once
Did you
again,
get
for the
sworn
record,
by the way?
yeah, I was sworn in earlier, but
All right.
once again, for the record, my name is Nick Dickerson. I'm a planner with Colliers Engineering and Design. I'm here to present a report prepared by my office concerning the site known as Lot 1.01 of Block 4101.
You want to hold off, sir? It's
Yeah.
getting noisy out there again. Okay, sir. There you go.
This is the Axo Nobel site, formerly International Paint, and our office was charged with looking into whether or not this meets the criteria for being an area in need of redevelopment according to the state's local redevelopment and housing law. So I'll just briefly go through the findings of our study. So it's located at 2270 Morris Avenue. It consists of approximately 11.71 acres. It's a gated lot with access points at Morris Avenue, Hoover Place, Savitt Place, and from the cul-de-sac all the way at the end of at Gifford Court. And the front part of the property is, the southern half near the Gifford Court is largely wooded, while the northern half, there are some buildings remaining. There has been a lot of demolition taking place from some of the former buildings. There's also a building on the site that's responsible for the remediation concerning the contamination. We looked at flooding. As you can see from the flood maps, a lot of the property is in the AH flood zone, meaning that it is an area of shallow flooding. It is an active contaminated site recognized by DEP, considering the history of its industrial use. There is now a plant on the site that's responsible for working on mitigating that contamination. The existing zoning is CI, commercial industrial, which allows for a series of different commercial and industrial uses. And based on the findings of our report, we have to find that it meets at least one of the criteria under the local redevelopment housing law. Based on our findings, we looked and found and believe that it would meet three of those criteria. And I'll get into those shortly. These are just some pictures of the site. There is one building from the former use still on site, the office. The pole barn you see there is the remediation facility that's now on the property. And in our opinion, it would meet criterion B, which is abandoned commercial industrial buildings. They have to have been abandoned for at least 2 years, and this facility closed in around 2014. And as I had mentioned, there had been subsequent demolition to other parts of the site. And let's see, and then criterion D, obsolete layout and design. Here we point to the former use for the manufacturing of paint, which has led to contamination on the site, which is a hazard to the surrounding community. And so thus, we would believe that it would meet criterion D. Finally, criterion H, the smart growth criterion. Here we note that because the site is in State Planning Area 1, which encourages redevelopment and growth towards the center of town, which we also had measured at one point that this is about 20 minutes from downtown by walking. So it is close to the downtown. We're redeveloping it, this would help to advance redevelopment in an area where development has already taken place. This is not taking a green field and putting a new building on it. Would be revitalizing a site that has, been used for decades. It's encumbered by flood zones, it's in disrepair, and for the number of reasons outlined in our report and in this presentation, we would recommend that it be considered an area in need of redevelopment according to criteria B, D, and H. And I'll turn it over to any questions the board might have.
Questions from the board? Questions from the public? All right, I'll take a motion to approve area need of redevelopment, application B4101, L1.01 to Perkins Township Committee. So moved. Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. East?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeeman Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Thanks again, everyone, and again, apologies for the technical difficulties earlier.
Now, just for, is everyone here on the Chick-fil-A application? Chick-fil-A? Everyone here from the Chick-fil-A app? Because that's what we have left. Is Chick-fil-A. I just wanted, if you're here for something else, I just wanted to be here. You don't have to. Okay, Steve?
I guess we gotta wait. Want to get Victor? He's in the conference room.
Oh, I'll call him out.
Oh, Victor?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? All right, could you please swear him in, please?
My microphone isn't on. There you go. You swear the testimony that you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you very much. Stephen Hale, representing the applicant Chick-fil-A. Great to see you all this evening, and yeah, we're here for an exciting redevelopment of the Chick-fil-A property. It's hard to believe I was here in, I guess, 2010 when we did the original Chick-fil-A, and here we are this time later. Who knew back then that take off and have the demand that it's got? But it's great. And what we're doing here are modifications to the site that we think will benefit not only patrons and the use of the site, but also just in the general area. Essentially, what's being proposed here is, and everybody drives by there, what was there, the Pita Shack and 7-Eleven are now closed, the building's vacant. So what we're proposing to do is to demolish that building. Chick-fil-A now has control of the entire site, clean up that area, reconfigure the parking, access through the site, address landscaping and the like, and then also provide a second drive-through lane. The modern, I say the newer Chick-fil-A's all have 2, sometimes 3 drive-through lanes. Just makes better access and better site circulation. That's going to be added in the general area where the existing, near the turnaround, near the U-turn, and it also includes a canopy, and we'll describe that, provide shelter for not only the clientele, but the people that work at the site. We've worked with the township. We'd like to thank our conflict engineer, Vic Vinegra, for working with our team in reviewing the plans, and we're excited to make our presentation and look forward to, again, cleaning up that area, getting rid of those vacant buildings, and utilizing the entire site. So that's an overview. We have received Mr. Vinegra's review. We'll address those, and we'll certainly work with him to address any any items, including supplemental approvals we may need. So what I'd like to do first is call upon Matthew DeWitt, who is from Bowman Engineering, who is our site engineer that'll take us through the existing conditions and then what's proposed by way of site improvements.
What's his name? That's
DeWitt, Matthew DeWitt.
Matthew DeWitt.
Raise your right hand.
You swear the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, Mr. DeWitt, if you could please first give to the board your credentials, your area of expertise, licenses you hold, and whether you've been accepted as a professional engineer before the boards or courts of the state of New Jersey.
Sure. I have a Bachelor of Engineering from NGIT, licensed professional engineer for over 10 years, testified over 30, 40 boards throughout the state. Very similar applications, other Chick-fil-A's, other commercial applications that are very familiar with this proposed project.
I would offer Mr. DeWitt as a professional engineer. Great, thank you. So Matt, why don't you take us through your plans, existing conditions, and address the proposed improvements that I outlined in my opening.
Sure. So what we're looking at here is the existing site survey. And as we know, this is the existing Chick-fil-A on Route 22. That is on the center median between the east and westbound lanes. It's at 2219 US Highway 22, block 3206, lot 1.01. The site is located in the commercial corridor zone, the CC zone. Total property size is 1.97 acres. It is an approved use. Under existing conditions, there are two buildings on the site. The Chick-fil-A building to the east, and then the other commercial building that was a 7-Eleven and a Western Union, I believe, in the middle of the site. On the eastern and westbound lanes, there are individual ingress and egress driveways, so it does not contain any combined driveways in existing conditions. And there is a drainage culvert that runs north to south that goes through the property. Obviously, that'll remain and is part of our proposed drainage plan. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the site plan set that was submitted for our proposed plan here. This is sheet 2.0. So what the main goal here is really just to improve the efficiency of the drive-through operation, the parking, the ability for customers to come out and take orders, to come out and make deliveries as the cars wrap around and leave the drive-through. So the proposal is to remove the center building that was the 7-Eleven and only have the Chick-fil-A building remain. The rest of the site will be reconfigured for additional parking, a brand new ingress and egress driveway on the western side that is along the eastern lane. And the design that you see is a result of working with the DOT staff, getting their comments. We had a lot of back and forth with them, several meetings to arrive at a solution that everyone is happy with. So what we do have, similar to existing conditions, a one-way in, and then a separate one-way out on the eastbound lane, and then similar on the westbound, it is a single one-way in, and then a one-way out on the western side. The other improvements we are making, we're going to have a sidewalk through the parking lot that goes from the bus stop that exists today on the west side, and that'll have pedestrian access all the way up to the Chick-fil-A building. And also as a result of the engineer's comments, we are going to add more crosswalks at the other two areas where the parking cuts through that sidewalk. So we are open to that. We're going to add that. The other improvements, we are adding a canopy for the order operations, which is about 1,430 square feet. And then the pickup delivery canopy will be 359 square feet. And the main reason for these canopies, Chick-fil-A is doing this on a national basis. It's better for the employees. There's air conditioning, there's fans, there's lighting, protection from any rain. while the employees are taking orders, and on the other side, while they are bringing orders out to the cars. And then we're also extending the drive-through from east to west to capture a lot more car volume. As everyone I'm sure is aware, in current conditions, there's 2 lanes that start at the entrance of the drive-through that combine into 1 lane for pickup. We are now going to have 2 full lanes coming all the way around, which I think will vastly improve efficiency and queuing and just the overall operation of the parking lot, how it's separated from the drive-through in this situation. No changes to signage. I mean, obviously we'll take down the 7-Eleven sign, but the Chick-fil-A sign will stay up. There will be some new site lighting that'll match all the existing lighting styles. The canopies will have lighting underneath them, and that was submitted with the photometric plan that we provided to the board. Landscaping, obviously, we have a very robust landscaping plan, new shrubs, new trees, everything is heavily maintained, irrigated, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then as far as the harbor consultant's letter, we really have no issues with the comments provided, and we've already been working with the engineer on addressing a lot of these comments. So we'll continue to do that.
And then just briefly, and I know our professional planner will address it, there's a few variances associated with the
Yes.
application. There's front and side yard setback.
Correct.
To the canopy.
Right, so the building setbacks are obviously existing conditions that are not changing. The only other 2 setback variances are for the canopies. That'll be on the eastern and west side of the building. That's just a nature of how this lot is configured with the round, the round nature of the property line to the east.
Can you show us
That's actually a touch screen too there, Matt.
What's that? Yes, you can see here, this dashed line, did we lose it? So this dashed line is a setback, 50-foot setback, right? And you can see obviously the building's right on it, so that was all previously variances granted for the building. And then this 45.2 is the existing setback situation. And then this 14.8 is for the canopy.
And I assume you've worked both with the DOT and worked with Mr. Vinegra, that those canopies will in no way impact any sight lines, whether it be traveling on 22 or on the cul-de-sac.
Correct. The other side. This is the 19.9 setback dimension from the delivery canopy.
I think that's technically a rear yard setback.
Right.
And then I know we're requesting, and we'll have just briefly operational testimony when we were here in 2011, we did receive a variance for lack of a loading zone. We'll cover that in operational, but it's existed in it, and it works now, and it's done off hours. So, and then I know we're relocating also the trash enclosure.
Correct.
To help facilitate the site, and I know we'll work with Mr. Vinegra. That trash pickup, by the way, is private pickup. Again, it's been functioning, just moving it. And I know Victor had some comments just confirming we have adequate site circulation. I think Sandy will touch on that too.
Yep. Yeah, so existing conditions, the enclosure is on the southern side of the building, parking lot. Now that we're extending the drive-through and we're adding this kind of an emergency bailout driveway here, so any cars that are in queue that want to leave, there is an opportunity here before they get around the back of the building. As a result of that, we have flipped the dumpster enclosure to the north side to still provide the same service, obviously same pickup schedule, which operations from Chick-fil-A can cover this, but as far as I know, it is off hours and should not conflict with the cars leaving the drive-through. I know the question was raised, other spaces for this enclosure. I mean, we want to keep it as close to the building as possible, and to obviously not have any conflicts with cars leaving and the pickups, the trash pickups. So, in talking with the operators, we felt that this is still a safe spot for it and will not conflict with any normal traffic of vehicles leaving.
Great. I have no further preliminary questions of Mr. DeWitt at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Question from the board? Yes, Mr. Chairman. Could you walk us through how this new drive-through configuration is going to work? And where are the orders going to be given and where is the food going to be picked up? I'm just curious about how the outer lane is going to happen. Be able to receive the delivery of the food.
And operational may touch on that too, if you want.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, I better have them explain the operation.
Any other questions?
Certainly better than it works now. So.
I just have one quick question. The dash path that separates the two lanes, does that represent a physical barrier, or is that just a designation within the road to show the separation?
It's just a striped area to show separation. There's no structure there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. DeWitt, do you know if a ladder truck would be able to make a U-turn by the proposed dumpster?
We do have a plan in the set that does show some circulation here.
And is that the only place you can put a dumpster?
I mean, physically, no. I mean, obviously, there's other places, but it's a balance of practicality and convenience, right? We don't want the workers traveling too far into the parking lot to deposit trash at the same time. You know, we want to make sure that it's in a place where it's not going to have a continuous or daily impact on the circulation.
And we'll obviously, if there's any further comments from the fire department, we didn't receive any on this
Yeah.
one, but
I mean,
we'd certainly work with them and address anything.
Thank you, sir.
As a
We
whole,
always want to do that.
it's pretty much going to operate as it does, you know, as far as just the amount of the 2 lanes, the parking. I mean, I think there's 9 spots or 7 spots in front of the Chick-fil-A right now. Now we're going down to 5.
Okay.
Before we go to operation, I have a question. I know you had spoken about striped areas. This is a restaurant in which one could sit down. Not that we like to, because we like to drive in and go, but this is also a walk-in, correct? Would you, in your opinion, having reviewed this so significantly, would you say that there's safe passage for pedestrians from their parking spaces into and out of the restaurant?
Yes, and like I said, we are going to add a crosswalk that is not shown here now.
That's what I was asking.
Yep, so that will be added.
Yeah, that was
Right
one of
from-
the harbor consultant's comments to add that crosswalk.
Yep. Yeah, so.
You didn't mention it, so I want to be sure for the record. Thank
Yes,
you.
it'll go right from this center sidewalk right to this, that striped area in between the vehicles.
We don't want them to have to run in between fenders.
Correct.
Well, and also at the present time with the building there, right, and I think the addition of that center sidewalk really benefits both vehicular circulation and pedestrian circulation.
Any questions from the board?
Just a quick follow-up on the location of the dumpsters. Initially, when I viewed this, the plan, I found it intriguing that there was an angle, but now listening to more of the testimony about the
the ability for a truck to turn, was the intentionality of having the dumpster area slightly slanted to enable the ability for a truck to basically turn into it and retrieve garbage or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, just because that island is right there, we wanted to have as much pavement area directly opposite it to get as much area for maneuvering.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you may not know that we have to refer to the next one. What will be the operating hours of
That'll be
But
Chick-fil-A.
it's not going to change.
It's not going to change.
this? Not 24 hours.
No.
Good question. I'm looking at Victor's report for the location of the refuse storage shed will not have ample space for a garbage truck to move in the area. Please address that issue, please.
I mean, we feel that it does based on this turning exercise. I mean, it's got maybe 70, 80 feet of room.
Yeah, I think that might have been submitted before Dick saw the turning canopy.
Yeah, we wanted evidence. Yes, we wanted evidence, and they're now showing evidence of how the refuse vehicle will back into that area, and then he will probably more or less open the gates, push out the trash, and collect it. So there was a comment in there from one of my engineers also about the fence, the gate, but it's only temporarily. You know, I don't see a problem with that. I just want to go into a couple of questions. If we can do like a loading area, even though it may block, I don't know what they do now. Normally you can cone it off, or where do you foresee a vehicle parking for loading and unloading of food material?
Yeah, we'll have
we have our operator here that can explain how that works.
Okay.
But I mean, the intent is to pretty much to maintain the way it is today in the new conditions.
But you should sit up there, we'll work the screen with it. I think the main crux of what we've been working on for about a year now is if you want to go sheet 2 to show the existing layout.
Yep.
Who's winning?
What's the score?
As someone who lives in the area, fire now.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maybe somebody got a home run. I won't be too long. I want to show why, it has taken a long time to get through this. The driveway, we went for 5 years. And I kept persisting. I don't think it's right. I went in there. There's so much stuff. If you look at well, what I did at the beginning of the job, they gave me a printout of the amount of accidents and driveway. It was looking for my arm. So, and that's why I want to get it on record. That's why we're here. Not that you love Chick-fil-A, cut down, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just still waiting on the jumping.
continue? Yes, Mr. DeWitt, I just want for the board members to know.
Okay.
For clarification for the board members, what we've been working on, and you've been working on with NJDOT over the last 12 months at least. Just briefly show how the driveway is functioning now, that we call crossweave, on both east and westbound directions. That means a crossweave with someone's pulling it conflicts with someone pulling out. Can you just show them, the board members and the public, the existing circulation movements for the cross weaves?
Sure. Yeah, and one thing to point out is right now, traveling east, when you enter the site, you're basically forced to circulate the entire parking lot to get into the drive-through, which obviously conflicts with movements of folks coming in from the west that are then also getting into that weave to come around, as well as an exit movement. So right now, like on the eastbound side, you have people trying to exit. At the same time, folks are slowing down, right, to make this left to come in.
You're right. So we call that crossweave. So someone trying to enter the facility to pick up a sandwich conflicts with someone trying to pull out. So initially, when we got involved, we looked at the amount of accidents out there, fender benders and such, and it was high. The rate was high. So we worked. I went out there numerous times in my own vehicle, just circulating, driving around, buying a sandwich. I didn't want to loiter. But what NJDOT, and we had multiple Zoom meetings with NJDOT for this new layout. There's no more cross weaves, and the entrances and the exits are far from the queuing area for the sandwich, for the drive up. And I think this is far superior, because before, to pull in there, or currently today, you have to cut across existing people in the queue for the drive-up window, and that really. So I have to give them, some credit here to Chick-fil-A for eliminating the 7-Eleven, the sandwich shop, and it really cleared things up. In the last iteration, if you want to go to your new proposed layout, that driveway in now does not conflict. So when you pull in to get in line, you're not conflicting with someone pulling out, which happens, which is very unusual in both directions now. But going into the future, pulling in will not conflict with pulling out. And they pulled their driveways further west on Route 22, so not to conflict with pedestrian movements in front of the store. So again, this layout is far superior. That's what we've been working on for over a year with DOT and with the applicant. And also, the only other thing is in our letter that we produce a plan of pedestrian movement. So they did agree on the record. They're going to come up with a plan with signage and with crosswalks. So anytime the pedestrian, right now we're going to go down the middle of the aisle, the white area, which is going to be concrete. That will be the area. And then we'll have painted stop bars where the roadways or the driveways cross the pedestrian area. So that's what's been going on for the last 12 months, tweaking of this layout, because they can't tweak it without DOT's permission. Would you say that's an accurate description
Correct.
of what you've been working on?
Agree.
Okay.
Thanks, Vic.
Any other questions from the board? Questions from the public? Next witness, Mr. Hill.
Yes, I'd like to briefly call upon Sandy Koza, our traffic engineer. Thanks, Matt.
Ms. Kozer, please recite your name and raise your right hand for the.
It's Sandy Koza.
Do you swear the testimony that you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And Ms. Koza, if you could please give the board the benefit of your work experience, licenses you hold, area of expertise.
All right, I've been working for McMahon/Bowman since August of 2000. I have a civil engineering degree, a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science in Transportation from Penn State University, and I've been practicing as an engineer since 2000 and 8 at least, and I have multiple licenses, including New Jersey, PA, Maryland, and Ohio. And I have been in multiple boards as determined as an expert in traffic engineering for PA and New Jersey for Chick-fil-A projects.
Great. I would offer Ms. Koza as a professional traffic engineer. Great, thank you. And Ms. Koza, obviously, we've gone through this plan. We've worked with Harbor Consultants at DOT, and I know Matt gave a general overview of existing conditions and what's proposed by way of improvements. But if you could briefly address the status of the DOT approvals and how site circulation and parking and the like, pedestrian access is being improved with this plan.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the existing plan because this is something that we have worked on with Victor and NJDOT. We've had multiple meetings. Click this one? Oh, okay. So we've had multiple meetings to try to address what's going on there today in terms of that circulation. And as Victor has pointed out, we do have a cross-sweep situation in which our exiting traffic as it's coming out on the eastbound side conflicts with traffic that's attempting to come in on that same side. And as they come in on this side, on the eastbound, right now, there is the potential for that to queue back out onto the road, and there are signs that have been since installed that directs anyone who's coming in here to actually come around, and this is where you have the conflict today with the pedestrians, where anyone who wants to use the drive-through who comes in from that eastbound side, they circulate around the parking lot and then back in and across again to get into the drive-through. The same situation happens on the westbound side in terms of your exiting traffic and your entering traffic. So right as you're coming out of the existing drive-through, there's the exit. And that traffic conflicts with anyone who's trying to get in as they're heading westbound into the site as well. So that has been the main focus of what we've been working on from a traffic standpoint and from a layout standpoint to address with the new layout. So what we have done is the new layout has the ingress driveway coming first on the westbound side, and then the egress driveway to make the left back out onto 22 heading west is the furthest driveway from the drive-through and from the store itself. And what we've done on the eastbound side is we've removed the driveway that goes into the drive-through now, and we've come up with a channelized driveway situation in which you have your left turn entering vehicles coming in first, and then the exiting movement for the egress coming out on the other side of that, so that we've removed that conflict that occurs under current conditions. As pointed out by Matt, we've also installed a center pedestrian sidewalk here for anyone who wants to walk up from any of these spaces. And as noted, we are going to be adding the crosswalk here, the same as what we've had the crosswalk here with the striping. And we'll also be adding some crosswalk striping across here as well. This plan also has our drive-through at a different location. So we now have doubled the amount of storage space there. So under current conditions, we had about 414 feet of storage in the drive-through with the combined dual lanes merging into a single lane. And under the future conditions with those two lanes, we have approximately 1,000 feet of storage just within the drive-through. This will keep all of our drive-through traffic in that drive-through, so it should not be conflicting with anyone in the parking lot or any other movements out there. So we have made some potential improvements to the overall operations.
And just briefly, I know you're working with Harbor Consultants, with Mr. Penegra and the rest of your team to obtain final DOT approval for this also.
Yes, we will be submitting new plans with the revised layout. This is something that we recently worked with Victor on in terms of redesigning this driveway here. So we're in the process of updating our permit plans to resubmit to NJDOT with that layout, as well as updated stormwater plans as well that they're requiring us to submit for the site.
Great, thank you. I have no further questions at this time, Ms. Koza.
Questions from the public? Mr. Hill, your expert.
Yes, great. I'd now like to call upon Gideon Lee for operational testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. Gideon Lee.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lee, well, you and I have done many of these, but if you briefly indicate your position and relationship with Chick-fil-A.
Yes, I'm the development manager on behalf of Chick-fil-A.
Okay, great. And I know first of all, if you could touch on how these improvements, both the reconfiguration of the parking, the canopies, how they benefit the site. We've heard it from your professionals, but just touch on it briefly, and how Chick-fil-A is now looking to add multiple lanes when they can at locations, and also the canopies.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, coming up on time, 10 p.m., so we'll be respectful of y'all, and sorry for the y'all. But, you know, Chick-fil-A has a national redevelopment program, a rollout. Coming out of COVID, our sales channels have shifted dramatically, and you all have seen this, from a dine-in service model to now, you know, a third-party mobile pickup, drive-through. A lot of things are moving to mobile these days. So, you know, back in, 2015, or even earlier than that, real estate looked at deals with a single-lane drive-through with a focus on dine-in. So a lot of these existing restaurants today, as you see here, I guess this is the proposed, but existing restaurants we're coming to retrofit with our, latest, what we call a P14 standard prototype. It's what we would build a new store with. We would lead with a dual lane drive-through with an updated prototypical building. And, as part of our redevelopment program, we are, adding the dual lanes, and then we are adding additional kitchen capacity and what's called a parallel drive-through cockpit in the building. This will also increase capacity to, bag quicker and out the door so that you're delivering to both lanes. On the drive-through, this is on the screen here, it's what's called a dual flex lane. So you have the option to, run it as a bypass lane for that outer lane, and then you can also deliver to that second lane. So what I mean by that is, sorry, it's not loading correctly, but at certain times when you have a car sitting at the window, let's say they have a $70 order or they have a lot of milkshakes, in current conditions you can't move, right? It's a single lane at the pickup window. But what that second lane does, simply you can bypass that first car. You will have team members delivering upstream by way of these team member striping zone is what we call it. So 2 foot in the inside, so team members can walk longitudinally along the 2 feet. And then also in the middle, to your question, Ms. Perkins, it's a 3 foot wide team member space, Mr. Lee as well. We share the same last name, so that provides our team members with safety of delivering to the outer lane as well as traversing upstream to, take orders on iPads at what's called the face-to-face canopy further upstream. So that's really our model, and this has served operators very efficiently and increased capacity where we really need drive-through capacity, especially here in Union. I'll take any further questions.
Well, and also just explain, and I know Matt touched on it briefly, the benefit of the canopies and what it provides to both the patrons and to your working staff.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really started as an OSHA initiative to provide water, rest, and shelter. So what the canopies what they do for our team members, they provide heaters in the winter, and then they provide fans as well in the summer. And Matt had mentioned we also have lights to provide safety as well. So today, I don't believe we have a face-to-face canopy here. In the January, we're not going to have team members out there taking orders. And that increases a lot of efficiency when you have team members with iPads to take orders. Generally speaking, cars are more inclined to, follow traffic. If there's a team member directing you to, hey, pull forward, and so on and so forth. So that canopy really, allows team members to be out there, throughout the entire year. And then also on the meal pickup side at the what it will now be a Tormax door, which opens up where we deliver the meals. There's also going to be single canopy that does the same functionality.
Okay. And then there was a question before, if you could confirm, there's going to be no changes in basically personnel or team members'
Correct.
hours of operation, but could you please confirm the hours of operation?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 6:30 a.m. Open, and then the restaurant closes at 10 p.m., but dine-in, and Adam, the operator here, effective June 1st, will be closed down at 9 p.m., so the drive-through will remain open until 10.
Okay.
And Sundays we're closed everywhere, so.
Okay. And then with respect to, there were questions regarding trash. Trash, we showed the circulation pattern. That is private pickup, off hours?
That's correct. So private pickup, off hours, and then to Mr. Victor's point, on the loading, unloading, that's also in the wee hours of the morning before the store opens. Especially in existing conditions, we can't have a loading truck out there, at peak times. So that remains unchanged, off hours.
And I believe, going back when I was before this, a decade or so ago, that's done in the front, right? They pull up right, the loading and unloading is done in front of the building.
Correct,
Yeah.
by way of the drive-through, the drive aisle widths.
And again, off hours.
Correct, yep.
And it's functioned properly for all these years?
Correct, yep.
Okay, good. And then, and just confirming again, no general changes in operation, just more efficient?
Correct. No change to, increasing team members or what have you, not necessarily tied to this project, so no operational changes here.
Okay, great. And on behalf of ownership, committed to work with Harbor Consultants, and any comments, including if there's any further from the fire department, to address any concerns?
Absolutely, and like Mr. Victor has mentioned, we've been working with various stakeholders, union, to make sure our site plan is, meeting everyone's best interests, and we continue to do that, or will continue.
Great, thank you. No further questions, Mr. Lee, at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Questions from the board? Yeah, Mr. Lee, so I'm not familiar with your operation at all. So you have employees that walk through the line? It's not like a traditional drive-up where you stop at a window or a speaker and put your order in and then go to another window to pick up the food. You have employees that work the line to take the orders, and then they run the food to the cars?
Correct. So traditionally at peak times, when you have a very busy lunch rush, you will have team members out there with iPads taking orders, and that again is to promote efficiency, to get cars to quickly go through, pull in front of car X. So that's what team members, they act as, traffic control, as well as, team, they wear a lot of hats at the end of the day. And then, but, we do still have the menu boards. So let's say there's a storm, obviously the canopies will protect the team members, but in very inclement weather, you will still have the menu boards to order from.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The canopy, is that going to be like a permanent structure, or is that going to be kind of like a tent type?
Yeah. It will be a sleek, permanent structure, about a 10-inch profile. So it's a very sleek design with steel black post. So it'll be very permanent. And we have a rollout just for canopies alone, but a lot of times we couple it in with a massive redevelopment like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, our final witness, Nicholas Graviano, our professional planner.
Good evening.
Thanks, Mr. Lee.
Do you swear the testimony that you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes, Nicholas Graviano.
And Mr. Graviano, I know you've testified many times before this board, but briefly give your credentials as a professional planner.
Yes, hold a bachelor's degree from Rutgers University, a master's degree in city regional planning from Rutgers University, law degree from Temple University School of Law. My New Jersey PP license is just renewed, so I got till 2026.
We'll have you back again.
Yep.
All right, I would offer Mr. Graviano as a professional planner.
So ordered.
Okay. Mr. Graviano, obviously, you've been well familiar with this project, worked with the team, and reviewed the comments of Mr. Renegar. I know we're permitted use, but there are a couple of variances associated with the application. If you could please provide the planning justification for that.
Certainly, Mr. Hale. The applicant is before the board this evening requesting preliminary and final site plan approval with associated C variances for a specific piece of property known as Block 3206, Lot 1.01. As the board heard in previous testimony, this site presently contains the existing Chick-fil-A restaurant as well as the 7-Eleven and the sandwich shop. The applicant went through great efforts to acquire the 7-Eleven building, to demolish it, to improve the site circulation as well as the quantity of off-street parking on the site. The applicant is requesting some relatively minor variances in the scheme of things. The first being deficient lot depth. That's an existing condition not augmented by this application. Relief for that variance certainly could be granted under the C1 criteria due to the extraordinary situation affecting the specific piece of property. No substantial detriment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance would be evident with the granting of that variance. As you heard in the engineering testimony, there are front yard setback and rear yard setback variances for the proposed canopies. As you heard in Mr. Lee's testimony, there are sufficient reasons for the development of those canopies, mainly for employee safety, to guide the customers and the free flow of traffic through the site. Those variances can be granted under both the C1 and C2 criteria. C1 in that the existing building placement does not allow for a conforming location for those amenities to be provided for. Certainly no substantial impairment of the zone plan or zoning ordinance with the granting of those setback variances. They can also be granted under the C2 criteria, whereas hardship need not be demonstrated. What must be demonstrated relates to a specific piece of property, and that purposes of the municipal land use law will be advanced. And in this case, this proposal advances 4 core purposes of zoning, specifically Purpose A, promotion of the public health, safety, morals, and welfare. That's done through the redesign of the site, creating a safer situation for the queuing of vehicles and pedestrians to traverse the site. Additionally, it advances Purpose G to provide sufficient space and appropriate location for a variety of commercial uses to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. Moving on, Criteria H, design of transportation routes which will promote the free flow of traffic. That's evident with the double drive-through lanes at double capacity, as you heard in the traffic testimony. And then lastly, this promotes a desirable visual environment and good civic design and arrangement. Obviously, this site will function a lot better due to the arrangement proposed by the applicant. There's no substantial detriment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance with the granting of those variances, and frankly, the applicant's proposal advances objectives of the master plan related to the Route 22 commercial corridor through the improvement of the site.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Graviano. No further questions at this time?
Questions from the board?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Maybe I should have asked this a little sooner, but can you give us a feel for the construction time frame from demo to completion?
Let me bring back Mr. Lee. Thank you, Mr. Graviano.
Thank you. So we will further develop the construction timeline once we have a general contractor on board. But generally speaking, with this scope of work, we're essentially looking at a scrape and rebuild, but keeping the building footprint as existing. So if I were to, give a higher estimate without scaring the operator here too much, it would probably be closer to a 2-month duration.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Closer to a 2-month duration, but that's not necessarily a 2-month shutdown. So a 2-month construction duration, but this restaurant will remain open after a certain period of time.
And that was my next question. Will you be operational during your construction phase?
Correct. Well, since the scope of this project is fairly large relatively throughout our program, We're going to phase it in a way that we're going to keep certain sales channels open and get Adam open as quick as possible. But there will be construction still going on, but definitely bifurcated from pedestrians and meeting health codes.
So with adequate safety precautions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no further witnesses at this time. Obviously, any of the witnesses that have testified are here to answer any further questions from the board. Yeah, just briefly, I think this is, when you look at what's there now and you look at what's proposed, it's a win-win. Much better circulation of traffic. They talked about the ins and the outs and having gone by there all the time. Great benefit there. The additional and new landscaping, the double drive-through, and the benefits in working with the DOT and Victor and Harbor Consultants and our team, I think. And the variances are minimal. It's permitted use. And frankly, the setbacks for the canopies are certainly justified. So for all of those reasons, we request the board grant this application and look forward to a quote-unquote new Chick-fil-A.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hill.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your witnesses, too. I thought they were all very professional.
Yeah, thank
I'll
you.
entertain a motion to approve application 2023-17, B3206L1.01. So moved. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. East?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committee Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Crane?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you very much, and great to see you all again.
Long road.
Thank you. Have a great night.
And take a motion to conclude the meeting.
So approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good game.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Take care. Good luck.